This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Yo. Hey, yo, check it out. Look at the hoodie, bro. Look at the hoodie.
The merch.
I came
Get
in
your
this
Sweep
week.
the Rack merch.
Yo, dry fit hoodie, sweep the rack. This thing is comfortable. Dude, fits great. I'm loving it. I can't wait to be able to wear this out. I bought a black one too. I might wear it to work tomorrow. I'm actually doing a company presentation tomorrow in front of the whole office. So I'm going to get on the mic and I'm going to be like, yo, InsideBowling.com, check it out. My merch. I'm going to literally start selling, dropping plugs in front of the whole company.
Shouldn't you have on like a suit then?
No. It's like a casual presentation. Our CEO does one once a week on a Monday. He calls it like an Emerge Live. Think of it as like Leonardo in Wolf of Wall Street when he's in front of the office. In front of it, he's just, he's banging his chest. He's getting the troops rally. That's kind of what it is, but a little bit more formal. So I'm going to wear the hoodie. I'm going to be like, yo, here's my presentation. By the way, buy some merch, baby. Dry fit hoodies on sale. InsideBowling.com, content creator. Use the code PatchPirate, 15% off. But I'm digging this hoodie though. I really am.
We got some comments on the merch. Scott says he wants more styles. They're coming. And give us suggestions on the shirts. We got some good suggestions already. What's good, homie? We're going to see that one pop up. Dumpster diving gold medal shirt is coming.
I saw that logo. That thing is great.
Yeah, so stay tuned. Henry says, where do we go to order merch? Easy question. Go to InsideBowling.com. You use code PatchPirate. You get 15% off. Okay?
It's on the subtitle. It's right across the below there of the screen.
He also asked, will you sign them with a Sharpie? I'll sign them with whatever you want. Okay?
If you see me, I'll sign it. That'll be awesome. I'll take a picture.
Lumber Flex will make it an appearance under Ian Sharp. This guy's got burners on burners.
I love it.
Wore his STR shirt to practice today. Very nice. Fit is excellent. Kevin checking in, our guy, saying that he wore it to Nationals in Baton Rouge. All right. Sweep the Rack, make an appearance in Nationals.
Dude, Kevin wants a milk carton with my picture on it. Yo, what does that even mean?
Well, you would be milk carton if you came back, because you've been out of commission for a while.
I'm always out of commission, dude. It should be a permanent milk carton.
No doubt.
Yeah, dumpster diving this week's easy, Emerald. Emerald Sin's asking about dumpster diving. That's the easiest dumpster diving I've ever. Literally, just go to the bottom of the roster for the Mike Aulby, and you'll get your dumpster diving. But
we should tell everybody. Excuse me, before we get started here, that tonight we're only going to review the Mike Aulby Classic. Okay, that we're going to talk a little Scorpion maybe because the show's on tonight, but we're going to come back and Nico asked this question earlier. Good question, Nico. We're going to come back at some point before next Sunday. We don't know when yet. Might be Thursday, might be Friday, might even be Saturday. But at some point before next Sunday, we're going to come back. We're going to recap the whole World Series, all the shows from this week, and then we'll likely be on again next Sunday to recap the World Championship Major show.
Mike.
Okay, so just to give people an idea of where we're at.
Yo, there's a legend in the chat. That's my guy, Joey. 2 times Snacks. He's got so many nicknames, but he wants a never disrespect me shirt. You know, like Big Mike, you don't never disrespect me. You know that guy, right?
Yeah.
Yo, that's my guy. Never disrespect me.
Don't you ever disrespect me. Don't
Yo,
you ever disrespect me looking like Milhouse from The Simpsons.
you heard? Yo,
Bing bong.
don't ever disrespect me being on the show. I'm bowling 180 when you throw the front three. You heard?
This is right.
Dude. All right, Mike. Let's get into it. I know you bowl league this week.
I did. I was milk carton. I was milk carton because I took 3 weeks off and then I came back. And I show up and we're bowling on the long pattern, which we switched the long pattern. I forgot to mention this the last time I bowled on it. It's the 2019 PWBA Cleveland Open or something pattern. I might have the year wrong on that, but it's some like 40 some foot long pattern. And I struggled greatly on it last time. And I show up and we're bowling the best team in the league. I mean, they might not always be in first place, but scratch bowling wise, definitely the best team in the league. Composed of two just over 50 players. One who's a regular PBA regional player and has bowled some PBA 50 stuff as well. And I show up not picking a ball up for 3 weeks. This is who we're bowling. So I was like, oh, great. But to my great surprise, I went out and bowled great. I bowled excellent. I threw a brand new ball. I threw a game breaker 5, the dull one, not the pearl one that just came out. And that ball was amazing. Love that ball. Only threw it once. Love it. Happened to match up really well with what the lanes were doing. Instead of playing in, I played far right. And I had a pretty good look for most of the night. My carry was another issue. I didn't carry all that well. I did shoot like 240 the first game. I felt like it should have been 300, or I at least should have had like the front 9. But I shot 240 the first game. Oh, missed spares as well. I missed 55 pins worth of single pin. So throw that out there. But I bowled good. I felt like I bowled really good considering I hadn't picked up a ball in 3 weeks. And I shot about 640, I think. I went like 40 something over for the first game and then about even for the last 2. So I was right around 640. However, and I will say this because I'll be real with all of you, I keep it 100 on here. I was the low man on the pair out of the 4 of us. I was the low man on the pair. That doesn't happen very often for me in this league, but I was the low man on the pair. Shout to one of the guys I bowled against who shot 750, coming hard off the corner, looked real good. Shout to my teammate Mike D for bowling his highest game ever on the sport, 279, and the regional player who's in the chat from time to time. It's Lou who's in the chat. He shot a little bit better than I did. I want to say about 680 or so, something like that. So yeah, I bowled pretty good. And I want to say something about my teammate shooting his highest game ever on sport because it was a really good game. He shot 279, and the one shot that he missed, he threw bad. He threw poorly, and he left a 5 pin and made it. And every other shot was good, and it was a legit strike. And I just, one thing that I thought about after that happened is that one of the big differences between the recreational stuff and the sports stuff is that on the recreational stuff, occasionally, almost no matter what you throw it like, occasionally you're going to match up. Right, you're going to match up occasionally, and you're going to shoot big scores for you, whatever that is. Let's say 690 or above, okay, where someone's going 230, 230, 230, something like that, or shooting a big game with a 220. That's going to happen for a huge percentage of bowlers just by them showing up, playing where they play, using the ball. Maybe they drill a new ball or they try a different ball or whatever the case may be. They line up for that night, they bowl good, right? And the rest of the time, they don't think it's them not bowling good of why they're not achieving that score again. They think it has more to do with the lane or who they're bowling with or the ball that they're using, whatever the case may be. Whereas on the sport side of things, the only way that you attain a good series, I'm not going to say game, but a good series. And my guy did bowl a good series. He shot like 650 something, and it should have been higher because the second game, the last 6 frames, he threw absolute dead great shots that just didn't, all 10 just didn't go down. So it could have been higher too. And he missed some spares. So we missed entirely too many spares. But on the sports side, you're not going to shoot that good series unless you improve. You are not going to shoot that good series unless you improve, unless you really figure it out and make some changes and do the right things, right? And to me, I'm not going to get into a deep discussion on what that means, but I will say that if you give it some thought, it's not too hard to see that really what that means is that on one side of the game, we've lost the reason to get better, and on the other side of the game, there's a built-in reason to get better. And I think that affects things a lot. So I'm going to stop there. But that's my league report for this week. 6-6 or whatever on the long. I was happy with it. I complained. Our team's in the dungeon. Our team's in the dumpster. Somebody needs to go dumpster diving for me and my partner because we are in the dumpster. Despite his good bowling and despite my decent bowling, because of missed spares, because of poor shots at poor times, we only won one game. So we only got 2 points out of 9 in that night. And we're hurting. I'm not going to lie to you. We're hurting. But it's all good. We finished in the top 3 for the first half. And I, as most people, I'm not bowling this league as a money venture. So, yeah, doesn't really matter. But we are in the dumps, bro.
Yeah. Hey, Henry, appreciate buying the shirt. Spare to keep bowlers off house shots. It's pretty much.
That's what I'm talking about. You better make spares. I missed 55 pins worth of single pins on Tuesday. Disgusting. The only thing that makes me feel better about it is when I think about how many single pin spares PBA players miss and what I watch when I watch bowling. It's the only thing that makes me feel better about it. I just can't strike as much as them.
Stefan, what's good, man? Stefan says he became a better bowler once Big Mike took him to help me and show me sport bowling.
Appreciate that,
I think that brings a little bit of a good point out, though. I think what really could benefit bowling in general is, you want more people bowling on Sport League, but I think it's important to have people like educating people who aren't really experienced on sport on really like the basics of how to adjust and how to play sport conditions. Because I think once you start learning that side of it, it becomes a lot easier than you originally, when you are bowling on sport and you have no idea what you're doing. It's really important that you get the proper instruction on how to start, where to play, where to stand, like what balls to use, and what like maybe changing hand positions or getting to that level where once you start to click in your mind and once you start seeing the ball motion and once you start seeing the lanes play the right way and how you want your ball to look, sport bowling becomes a lot easier in a sense. Now, it's still tough and you still have to execute, no doubt, right? You still have to execute, but it gives you a lot more room for mistake when you find the right when you find the right ball motion, when you're standing in the right place. And look, for example, and we'll get into it, but look at that like Ethan Fiore, EJ Tackett match, right? That is still a tough condition. They played a little bit softer, and I'm using this as an example. If one of those players was in the wrong place of the lane, let's just say EJ Tackett was trying to use a dull ball playing 2 arrows left of where Ethan was playing, or maybe throwing some really shiny ball that doesn't hook up the gutter trying to play him, they would never be throwing strikes. They would be considerably throwing less scores. But since they're in the right place with the right ball, looking in the right direction, the lanes to them almost become like bowling a house shot for a certain degree. You're able to have room miss left. You're able to have miss room right. And it becomes a lot easier.
If you're repeating it, yeah.
You're repeating it. But that's the part of that I'm saying is this,
Yeah.
You're always going to have to execute. But for these sport leagues to be successful, I think there needs to be more people, one, willing to take instruction, two, people who know what they're doing, giving instruction. And I think bowling would be in a better place if you had those two components.
Much better place. I try and help people out as much as I can. You know, I've talked about that on the podcast before, maybe too much sometimes. But two things in response to what you're saying. I was gonna bring this up. Cameron Perez says we need a Brooklyn Rob weekly bowling bets episode. Cameron, this is it. Stay tuned, bro. Stay tuned.
Dude,
this is it. You must not know where you are. This is it.
Mike, I'm getting trolled by my coworkers right now, FYI.
All right. Well, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Well, see, if that's a troll post, then your man is off base because he doesn't understand that this is where the best bowling bettors in the world are. So stick around if you do want to bet on bowling, because we will have some thoughts about the show tonight, and we'll discuss some bets that we've made already.
Hey, however, Cam, you got to change that picture, bro.
We're cold.
You got to change that picture of your profile, man. you look like
you're
16.
Don't ever come disrespecting me looking like Butthead if he graduated from college. Okay?
Dude, don't ever disrespect me looking like you're 16 and just came out of a high school yearbook picture, you heard?
Don't ever disrespect me like you just got off the high school bus from your private school. You heard?
You heard?
Yeah. So, two, I'm not even going to remember what I was going to say now, but two, we're off the rails. Two thoughts about what you just said. Thought number one is I agree with you 1,000%. That's first. So three thoughts maybe. Thought number two is you're right, but part of the problem that I see, Rob, is that because the other side of the game is what people experience way more often, right? And because they're used to kind of having their feet in one place and only playing one part of the lane for the majority of what they do, when you try to explain to some people like, hey, on this particular pattern, you have to get your feet right and you have to get your feet to 10 or even 5. I mean, that's something that you need to do in a non-competing environment before you go to try and do it in a competing environment. Because come on, anybody who's bowled and knows how to play the lane knows that it's intimidating as anything when you move out for the first time and you try and play around the first arrow. You know, especially when you have the opportunity of throwing it in the gutter. So while I agree with you, I think that some of these things that would need to be worked on educationally, like you were talking about, I think that they can only be done in a non-competitive setting. And that's the problem. Like most of the time when people are experiencing these sports shots, they're experiencing them in a competitive setting. I think you'd be much better off in a lot of instances of, you know, either having like a non-competitive lead up to the competitive piece, or just not having it be competitive at any point and just more of an instructional type practice thing. But yeah, I see it a lot. I show up every Tuesday and I see guys bowl on a short pattern where if you just take your thing and move right, they're relatively easy. But they want to have their feet on 25. Yeah, they want to have their feet on 25 and they want to look at the, second arrow, third arrow. So like, if that's what you're going to do, like you described, you're going to struggle in most instances, right? Especially if you have that plus on top of it, you're saying that your repetition is not real good, then yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The problem is though, there is no incentive. Like there's no incentive for a pro shop owner or high level instructor to give people instruction how to play sports shots, right? There's no incentive for them to even, why should they like set something like that up? A lot of those people aren't going to show up because they're averaging 230 on a house shot. So why do they care to go to do that, right? And we could talk hours and hours, and we have talked about this topic, but there's no incentive for people to get better on a sport shot. So it's just going to continue to be the way it is until something drastic happens from the USBC, really, who has the control over changing that. And they don't want to lose members. So they're not going to make any drastic moves either. So the sport is kind of in a stranglehold in a way. It's like a stalemate at this point, right? Like, I don't know, what they're waiting around for. It's just going to continue to be the same, and competitive sport leagues might even just slowly diminish to a certain point, like until there's none of them left, and which will be a disaster. So,
I just want to give a shout out to my teammate for bowling his highest game ever on sport. I mean,
Mike D, the ladies' choice.
To do that, to do that is meaningful. This is a guy who has a couple. He's got a handful of house 300s and honor scores, and I think he would say that this was probably the best game he bowled ever,
which is awesome. And we want to bowl more.
It's great. That's it. It makes you want to get out there. It makes you want to learn more. It makes you want to practice more. It makes you want to get better. That's been my argument the whole time. But all right, we're gonna move on because we have too much action to discuss.
We do.
Your boy wanted us to talk betting. It's going to be a sad story if we're going to talk betting. I claim that we're the best bowling bettors in the world, but to be truthful, we are ice cold, bro.
Dude, my friend loves you, butthead. If you graduated college, dude, that's hilarious. Joey, correct. So we talked a little bit this afternoon, right, about how hard it is to bet on the World Series, right? And I think this is good. This is a good topic to talk about because the World Series is so many tournaments over a short period of time that it's really hard to essentially get an advantage betting a lot of these matches, especially if you're betting on match play where the qualifying of the tournament was weeks ago, right? Which is what it is essentially going on right now, right? The Scorpion and then all the other tournaments tomorrow through Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is. But
not to mention, if you're on the East Coast and you're not watching most of the match play because it's not starting until 10 o'clock at night, so you really can't get a feel for what's going on. And even if you did have a feel for what's going on, they bowled the first round of match play a week ago, and now they're back to bowl the next round of match play now.
Big wheel. Shouldn't you be out celebrating your brother's title? If this is the big wheel, the Matt Anderson that I know, Andrew's brother, shouldn't you be out celebrating with Andrew, or is he still has to bowl the rest of the week?
I saw that comment as well. Didn't notice the Anderson last name, but why do you feel that way, Matt? Why do you say Matt Rivers is absolutely good? They ain't giving money away to us, bro. I can tell you that.
They're not giving any money to me. That's for sure. I'm going to work tomorrow. But so like we talked about betting the Scorpion match play today, right? Just an example. And you look at all these names. One, there's a lot of names that are bowling match play that you don't know.
International players you don't know. Yeah.
You don't know their style. You don't know how their look is. I mean, obviously it's a good look. They made it that far, right? So they bowl good to get there. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But when you're betting and you have an idea of what's going on, you look for certain things that give you an advantage when you're betting. And I found zero advantage this week at the World Series in the last week betting. So I laid off a lot. One, I was cold too, but others, I looked for advantages that I could bet, right? And I just haven't found a lot of them. So I've been kind of staying away.
I'm just cold. I agree with you on everything you said about the toughness of betting the World Series, and I sprinkle on top of that my comment about being on the East Coast and not being able to watch a lot of the match play. But yeah, I just feel like I'm cold. I mean, today I put a couple parlays in involving Tim Foy, who's been a lock in match play. I
won't bet against him at this point.
We talked in a previous podcast about how how we made a mistake by not riding him more often early in the season, right?
We clouded him is what we did.
And that may have been our big mistake from the first half of the season, pre-World Series. And what do? I bet on him, and what happens? He gets swept by Bo Kroll.
I think he won one game.
Yeah, it's it's stuff like that that's just perplexing. Matt in the chat is saying that the pair picks were pretty easy during the qualifying. I disagree with that highly. I think that it was pretty hard. It's pretty hard to par. I mean, if you're betting them individually, okay, I think there's some easy individual picks out there. But I'm looking to hit them heavy. So I'm parlaying a lot of those. I'm parlaying those, not crazy amount of them, maybe 2 or 3 together, and it just becomes really hard to find three consistent winners.
Huss Bowles writes, box out the winners and just get over and under correct. I'm kind of starting to agree with that strategy on the shows. I think if I'm going to guess on a 50-50 basis, and I'm going to bet high over and under on what the matches are going to be, I think I'd be higher percentage than 50%.
Way higher.
I think I would be like a 60 to 70% picking over and unders.
I agree. And I think then the problem is you got to risk way more to get the same payout. You got to risk way more to get the same payout. It's
so tempting to pick a winner, win and over and under. I think that's like the problem is you get a little bit like greedy trying to get better odds, and then you just make it so much harder for yourself sometimes. Jared in the chat says Boog has bowled well this World Series. He has had a good World Series.
No disrespect to Boog, but I mean,
I won't bet against Foy.
He's been unbeatable.
I won't bet against
him. He's been unbeatable for the first part of the season. I mean, up there with like the likes of EJ Tackett. So it's just one example. So
yeah,
it's been tough with the betting, especially for the World Series. With that said, I'll be back at them tonight on the show. I'll definitely be back at them. I'm going to be watching live. So if I see something I like, I'm definitely not going to hesitate to pull the trigger. So yeah,
I'll tell you what my bet is tonight, and I know we'll talk a little bit about it later in the show, but the Rocket. You got to like the Rockets odds as a number 1 seed, especially if he bowls EJ. I think he's going to get plus odds bowling the title right now. He might even be plus odds to win at this point. I haven't looked at the futures, but if anybody doesn't know who the Rocket is, it's the Rocket Ishmael, Rafiq Ishmael, who is a very similar style, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but a prime Jason Couch. He reminds me of a prime Jason Couch. So when you guys watch tonight, let me know your thoughts on that. But the Rocket Ishmael, I like the Rocket tonight. Rocket money line, yeah. Amen. I bet Rivers. I like that bet. Whoever he bets tonight, whoever he bowls. And he'd probably be a plus 150 at this point, I would imagine, the Rocket, because EJ's in the field. If EJ wasn't in the field, I think he'd be minus. But when you have the greatest bowler in the world in the shadows, like it's hard to bet against them.
Ishmael is plus 120.
Yeah, gotta like that.
Tonight.
You gotta like that, right?
Tackett's plus 135.
Oh man,
that change your mind? How about you, Matt Anderson? Does that change your mind?
A little bit.
Does that change your mind, Matt Anderson?
Anytime EJ is plus to win, it's a good bet, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, Mike. Let's talk about the Aulby though. You want to get into the Aulby show?
Let's.
Okay. So, Mike Aulby's show, right, was today or yesterday. I'm sorry. The one thing that really kind of bothered me about this show is the fact that it was 2 weeks later.
In a different center.
Different center, 2 weeks later. Hard to bet it. At least the first match. It's like a completely different tournament, right? It is different tournament, regardless if they're using the same pattern or not. And the first match was Jesper bowled Keplinger, right? And man, I think we were on the Jesper train, which I'm going to go on the record here. And I'm gonna say I'm probably never. Jesper has made my blacklist my blacklist for betting on. I have never won a bet betting against him. I've lost 8 legs on him. I've lost all kinds of money betting on that kid. And I just, every time I'm sure that he's going to have it, he just manages to find a way to lose. And after the first like 4 frames, you're like, man, you got to like his look right now. He's got the front 3, stone to 7. And then Keplinger put some pressure on him. And he kind of folded in a sense. I mean, what are your thoughts on that match? Threw one bad shot, and then he never recovered from it.
I think that the urethane is good enough to get you there, but it's not good enough to win at this point. That's what I think.
You think it was different when he had a pitch black in his hand?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. No question about that. No, I mean, absolute. The results speak for themselves alone on that. Okay, but I really do think that's what it is. I think the increased volumes with the decreased power or effectiveness of the urethane balls has been enough to tip the scales. Where I think it's actually. And this is going to sound crazy, but I think it's actually a credit to him that he gets to the point he gets to using them in that environment. But when you boil it down to the people who really have the best looks out of the whole field, his look ain't good enough. It ain't good enough, bro.
Do you feel that
he has to go back to the drawing board and figure things out?
So I think he is his own worst enemy in a sense of he's the only lefty on this TV show, right? Yesterday. And I feel like the practice with the 78s is in the match affecting him with the transition happening.
It's detrimental. It's detrimental to him to throw any shots on the TV pair. If I were him, I wouldn't even throw a shot. I would go and I would bowl on the pair off to the side, and I would forego my practice and I would take my chances because I got a better chance of lasting longer going out there and breaking them down from the start, from shot 1, it being my practice shots before I go into the show, just those few practice shots in the commercial break before I go into my match, than I do trying to bowl for 20 minutes, then go over here and sit down, let other people bowl, then coming back and bowling myself. I mean, yeah, like I said, I just don't think the urethane is good enough to just get the job done anymore.
Matt says they don't hold surface long enough to win more than a game on TV. It's true. I mean, okay, that's a great transition in the Keplinger's match, right? So Keplinger has a great look with that black urethane.
257 to 214. We had Jesper in the over. So we had the over, but we didn't have the winner.
So now you go to match 2, and Keplinger has a great look bowling against a 20-year-old Ethan Fiore who's never been on TV before, right? I say to you, and I make a tweet out, and I make an announcement to the whole Twitter world, right?
Rob loves betting against the new guy.
I love betting against the new guy.
Betting against the new guy.
Okay, but so I'm gonna make a new rule here. Okay, I'm not good. I'm throwing my rule out the window for anybody who's under the age of 21 and it's their first show, because Mike, these 20-year-olds that I'm betting on that are their first like show, Landon, Jordan, now Ethan Fiore, right? These kids are like immune to the TV show. Like, and Ethan Fiore starts his first frame, right? So I think it was a 248 he leaves, right? And he misses the spare, which Chris Barnes called, right? Which you called out earlier when we talked.
Yeah, the shout to the guys from the House YouTube channel. They did a pregame show last night for the show. They might be doing one tonight too. We're probably running up against them tonight, which I didn't intend, but not that it matters. But Yeah, they had Barnes on, and they were just talking about how hard it is during your first show, right? And we've had a lot of players on this show over the years of doing this podcast, and we've talked to a lot of people about this, and they all say the same thing, that it's a really tough spot to be in, generally speaking. And Barnes commented that it's really hard to get through your first 3 frames without an open. And I'm like, oh wow, like that's crazy. And he may have gone as far as to predict that like Fury would have an open in the first 3 frames, simply because he was coming into the pair, right? And he was going to have to figure them out before he jumped on. Well, what happens? He comes out in the first frame and he opens. So me and you were like, oh, blood in the water, baby.
And Keplinger still looks good. The urethane still looks good.
Yes, it does. And to his credit, don't know Fury, never heard of this kid before this week or the last couple weeks, never really heard of him much. My man must have faced down some pretty serious stuff in his life to get, he was the most composed first-time TV participant I think I've ever seen. It was sick. It was sick. We haven't even gotten to the roll-off yet. We haven't even talked about the roll-off yet. And it was sick. So he opens, he composes himself, comes back and just absolutely mauls him for the rest of the game. Throws nothing but bombs the rest of the game.
Here's a few points to that match, and go back and rewatch the match if you think I'm wrong here and tell me I am. But a few points here. I think Keplinger throwing the urethane, especially in practice, helped Fury, right? Because it did create some push for Fury. There was 2 shots in that match, and I believe it was right around the 6th to 8th frame mark. You can go back and rewatch it, where Ethan was shocked that he struck. Okay, he threw 2 balls, essentially, he thought were probably out the window. That got to 5, right, by the break point. They both came back, and they both light mixered. And then when he threw it good, he struck. And then when he missed in, he created push. So that urethane, I think, where Keplinger was playing, helped him create that push. And with Ethan's, two-handed, using a performance that New Evoke from Motive actually looks pretty good. When you have Ethan and EJ Tackett throwing it, they probably make any ball look good at that point. But they definitely created Keplinger definitely created a pretty good shot for Ethan. And, man, you could see it. He missed right, he struck. He missed a little bit left, he struck. And that's all he really needed. That's what better situation on your first time on TV when the lanes just kind of set up really nice for how you want to play him and your A game. It seems like that's his A game where he was. So I think it does stars align really nice for him, and he took advantage of it. And talk about shot making. We talked about Verity's balance, remember last week, and how good her balance is. This kid, for a two-handed player, physically is textbook and has a two-handed release. It was really loved watching him throw the ball, honestly, Mike. He had, you could tell this kid has worked so hard at his game to where he was right now. You could tell he just love is the way he throws it.
And at the same time, Keplinger's look went bye-bye.
Oh, the handcuff, Mike. The handcuff, the urethane, the crutch.
City,
the crutch.
Going high, 4-pin.
You remember when I got shit for calling it a crutch on Twitter? Everyone was getting on me. That's a bad word. Chris Barnes commented on Facebook. That's a bad word. Shouldn't be crutch. It's a tool. It's a tool that is being overused. No, it's a crutch. Watch that match again with Keplinger and tell me that he should have pulled out of that ball middle of that match.
It's hard to do.
It's one of the hardest things to do right now with the resurgence of urethane.
It's harder to do. I was going to say it's harder to do when you have a look that you really feel you can strike with. If you just throw it the way you need to. But it's harder to do that.
Lumber makes a great point, and I forgot he did say this. Anyone else catch him saying, when will you learn to get out of it in time or something to that effect? Lumber, it is the hardest thing to do with the resurgence of urethane. Getting out of it in the middle of a TV show being able to switch out of it and into a performance ball and jump left where Ethan was. And look, Keplinger's really good banging it from the left, Mike. That's his A game, being able to move left and just bang it right. Would you agree?
I would probably say he's pretty good at it, yeah.
Yeah, and Fiore beat him at his A game because Keplinger was in the urethane longer than he should have been, and he knows it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're moving. If you're making that move, you're moving left, and you're probably going to be right of where Fiore is, if not on top of him. And now you got a two-hander, and you're trying to hook the lane. And I mean, I'm just saying, there's a lot of other factors that go into it, right?
There is.
And if you bowl on sport conditions in any way and bowl on short patterns and use urethane, you kind of understand what it's like to get trapped where you can't shoot a really great game with the ball, but you don't want to get out of it because you're hitting the pocket the vast majority of the time. You're leaving makeable spares, but
playing defense
at the same time, to play devil's advocate, like in this instance, it's a stepladder match. You got one game and that's it. So you got to make that move, and he's going to have to learn that as time goes on. But all right, so second game, we went with your theory of inexperienced player poops the bed, and that didn't work out. We had the over, but we had the wrong player yet again. So that was second time in a row. And then we get to what turned out to be the match of the night.
Could be match of the year.
Could be one of the best matches ever in PBA history, really. I mean, I'm a PBA historian, bro. Like that was some historical stuff right there.
The only thing that would have made it better is if it was for a title. If it was the championship match and that happened, man, that would have been incredible. And then maybe even go a step further. Imagine if that was a major and that was something like that happened, right? But hey, look, I'm not going to, beggars ain't going to be choosers here. Like,
because the way that match went, I will say I felt like that match had the tension of a close match in a major stepladder. It did. because it went down that road, right? Cannot overstate how, and I mean, I see you, Hoss. There's only one answer here.
Yeah, but let me tell you something.
Only one answer. So hold on. Can't overstate how impressed I was with this kid.
So I want to say something. I want to say something. I could be completely out of the world with this comment here. This is a perfect situation for someone to walk in and to make a movie. This is a perfect movie situation scenario where you have a 20-year-old kid making his first show bowling against the best in the world, reigning 2-time player of the year, probably 3-time player of the year, his first second match on television, bowling him, and then going to a 7-shot roll-off. Okay? Like, incredible storyline here, right? Like, just so much, like, drama, and what you couldn't ask for a better script to a match, like, out of nowhere, right? And that's why bowling is so great in a way, right? Where, like, this just comes out of nowhere. Like, all of a sudden, like, you're in the middle of this slugfest with the shot for shot, nerves of steel, 20 years old, bowling in the Reno in the bowling stadium where Big Earn bowled against Roy Munson. I mean, really, like, if you think about it, it's like, seriously. You have to
bring that up. Come on, bringing that up tarnishes this match. You just tarnish this match. I feel like we have to move on from the conversation now.
No.
You just defecated all over this match by bringing up that movie in reference.
But I'm just saying, it's like, this is the National Bowling Stadium.
I hear you.
This is
but hold on. If we're gonna go as far, I feel like you're going a little far here, to be honest.
Well, that's what I said. This comment could be out of the world.
If we're gonna go this far and say that it's movie-like material,
it is.
The stakes have to be higher.
But look, Like
No.
Rudy
The
was
stakes
made.
have to be higher. It's got to be
Why?
like for a major title. It's
No,
got
it
to be the
doesn't.
title match. Yes, it does.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't. Look what
it
happened. Look,
absolutely does. And the
dude, they
kid
made a movie.
loses. The kid loses. He
Doesn't
doesn't
matter.
even win.
What does it matter?
It's a
They
terrible
made a movie
movie.
of
People are going to be
Rudy.
walking out crying and angry at the ending.
No, but Rudy, they carried him off the field. He played one play. It's one of the most famous sports movies of all time.
I know, but he won. They carried him off the field.
He didn't win nothing. He benched
No,
Aulby.
he did win. His win was playing. Do you not get these movies, bro? Do I need to give you the Cliff Notes version of these movies?
But you don't have to. The stakes don't have to be that high for you to put a good sports movie together based on it. The kid went toe to toe. Look at Rocky. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's a good sports story. To me, there's a movie there. 100%. It might be a straight to Netflix movie.
But this is what the movies do. Like part of Rudy ain't even true. I've read a lot of it's like fictionalized. Okay, and hear me out. This is what the movies do. The movies fictionalize, right?
I know,
They
right?
take some of the real and they sprinkle in some fiction to make it better, right? So why can't, if we do make it into a movie, why can't we have it be, it's the finals of the world championship and it's the last game, and this kid's bowling for $100,000 and he's up against EJ Tackett and this happens. I mean, that would have been even better. Lee Howard, real quick, saying he turned $4.10 into 130. Lee, you might be the best bowling bettor in the world right now. How'd you do that? Tell us in the chat how you did that. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say is like a good example of making a good sports like story into a great movie was the original Rocky. Like Sylvester Stallone went and saw Muhammad Ali fight this unknown guy. And the unknown guy like knocked Muhammad Ali out in like the second round or first round, whatever. He knocked him down and he ended up losing the fight, but he went to distance. Sylvester Stallone, what was a fan of boxing, made Rocky based on that fight. Like, why can't someone like make a movie based off of this match, but make it into a bigger like thing? And I think there is something there. But all I'm saying is that this was an amazing thing to watch. And I think I don't think I've ever watched a bowling match where you text me and literally said to me, "Are you watching this?" Like, I don't think that's ever happened in a bowling match before.
I did. I said, "Yo, are you watching this?" And you text me back, and you were like, "EJ Tackett is the serial killer of all serial killers."
Because everyone wants to talk about Ethan in this match, right? Because of how good he did. But dude, EJ is just unconscious, bro. He is just so sick. The kid is just, I mean, man, when he starts striking, I don't think there's anybody that like is as good as him when he finds it. Lee Howard picking all the winners.
Lee Howard, applause
to
our guy Lee Howard.
I like it.
He put in an 8-leg parlay and hit that. Lee, you might be the best bowling bettor in the world right now, Lee.
It's a good feeling. Been there.
I'm coming for you, Lee. I'm coming for you starting tonight, but you
all
might
right,
hold that title right now.
So anyway,
when little, that line, there's a song, a rap song. You people know I love my hip hop. There's a rap song called "Swagger Like Us." Everybody, Swagger Like Us, right? And Lil Wayne has a verse on that song, and he says, I think it's Lil Wayne who says, "Swagger on 100,000 trillion." Okay, I believe that's the line. That's EJ Tackett right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Swagger on 100,000 trillion, bro. Like he don't care, bro. Like he's operating on another level. He's operating on another level. He honestly I might take flack for this because of the world championship still having the match play to go. And he's in the lead right now, but who knows how that will turn out after match play because he's got Belmo nipping at his heels there. But I don't think EJ Tackett has any peers right now.
Oh, you mean there's anybody that could be up? Mm-hmm. Anybody that's on his level right now? No, I don't think so.
And that's no disrespect to any of the other bowlers out there. Like these guys got crazy game. These guys got crazy game, and for periods of time they can best him. But
over a year.
When
over
it comes,
period.
over the longer tournaments and over the longer sets of results right now,
Nice season.
I do not think he has any peers.
No.
It's crazy.
And I think EJ is right now, and this could be crazy to say, but I think he's setting the bar now higher for what you could be if you like what you could be as a bowler, right? I think Belmo set that bar, right? And I think EJ is now setting the bar higher. And I really do believe that.
I would say the bar of domination.
Yeah,
right?
just the bar of like how good you could be, right? Like what you could really do with a bowling ball and have your thumb in it too, which is crazy to think like he's doing this in a two-handed like age with the two-handed and the urethane and all of that. And man, he doesn't use urethane a lot. He's doing it just with a sheer set of skills and just, I mean, like more of what is the word I'm looking for? He just knows how to make shots. He's very good at recreating shots. Like you saw that during the Mike, you saw that during the like the roll off, right? I mean, he just was making shots after shot after shot with a 500 plus rev rate. That's just crazy to me.
Tim Foy is in the chat. Tim, welcome. Nice bowling so far. Good luck the rest of the way. We should probably apologize to you because we finally decided to bet on you in the round of 16 today. So sorry for that.
Yeah, we clouded you, Tim.
Cloud. Sorry.
I'm okay. I made a rule I was saying earlier in the show, Tim, that I refused to bet against you bull and match play, and we clouded you, my man. Big Mike especially clouded you.
We say all this, right? We say all this about EJ, but then he goes to the next match and he loses to Andrew Anderson, and Andrew Anderson, bowls a hell of a game. Number one,
hell of a game. I mean, you know what though?
He knew. That's crazy. We didn't discuss that beforehand either, bro. He knew. I'm facing the final boss here, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going up again. I'm going to sleep, and Freddy Krueger is coming for me. I better bring the best weapons I got, bro.
Yeah, he reminds me.
Credit, he did. He did not. I've seen so much folding under pressure this year. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I lost another bet tonight because Dombrowski has a chance. All he has to do is fill the 10th frame in the second game against Barnes. He's going up 2-0. He goes 4 through the face. It was the only count he could have gotten. He needed 4 or lower to give Barnes a shot, and he gets 4. Barnes takes advantage of it. I lose that bet. Okay. So yeah,
I agree. Yeah, the roll off was the best thing that could have happened for Andrew. 100% agree with that. The roll off, that is a lot of one.
Well, hold on a minute. The ball change, the company change, is clearly the best thing that could have happened to Andrew Anderson this year, because a lot of times you don't see that ball company change work out well, or you don't see it produce the fruit of the results, right? In his case, it has, boy. Let me tell you. I mean, he literally looks like a different player with this stuff in his hands.
So there's a lot that goes into a ball company change, right? It's not just the balls. I mean, you're dealing with different ball reps, right? And the ball company maybe just doesn't fit your game, right? And now you're kind of stuck using that one company, and you have a contract and you're there for a year or two, and maybe the ball rep isn't matching up with how you see it, and maybe it's just not a good fit. Doesn't mean the ball company's bad. Look at EJ. EJ's been dominating with Motive, and Motive has been, not the most dominant ball company, right? And it's just a good fit for EJ, right? He's very good with those balls. He knows how to use them. He's very comfortable with them. Him and Brett Spangler, the Motive rep, have a really good, relationship. But then that could be the complete opposite for another pro, right? And when Andrew goes over to Roto Grip and now he's with the Storm brand, Now he gets to throw some of the urethane, which probably might help him on the fresh. And those balls could be a better fit. The ball reps could be just in tune to more what Andrew's doing. So, yeah, it's been definitely paying dividends for Andrew this year. I'll tell you one thing. It's really nice to see Andrew bowl really well on TV. He's, had some struggles in the last few years. But I think you saw a little bit of what he could do with the league when he started really getting under pressure and started making really good shots, and they won because of a lot of his strikes in 10 frame. So I think Andrew's getting comfortable on TV now.
He is a really former player of the year. I mean,
he is.
Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Okay. So, and Steve from RotoWire, what's up, Steve? He joined us earlier this year, and he did throw out Andrew Anderson as a long shot pick for player of the year. Steve, the only problem is there's, like we just discussed, there's a guy who has no peers. So I feel like, Andrew Anderson, great job in winning the title, but EJ Tackett is likely to go on and
he's a lock. He's a
dominate this event.
He's a lock.
Whether he dominates the event by making several shows and winning the world championship, perhaps, or whether he just dominates the event just by making most of the shows. Yeah, I mean this guy's putting up performances that you it's just hard to compete with,
Yeah, so it's just one more comment about the final match between Andrew and EJ. I remember years ago when we watched EJ on TV and he would throw a couple of those shots where he washed out, and you would say, "Oh, there it is. Oh, there's the EJ. Oh, there's the bad shot we've been waiting for." Now, when he threw the washout, I was like, "Holy crap! Did he just throw a washout?"
Right.
I was like, "What?" Like, I was so surprised. It just shows you how far he's come in the last couple of years from when his struggles were on TV, when he was making those one or two bad shots. And Randy even commented about how his feet like to get fast and he gets steep at the line, which I know a lot about in my own game because I would do that all the time. When your feet would get fast and then you get steep, meaning your feet would get really to the line really quick, and then your swing, you have to grab it down in order to get the ball down, and that causes an errant shot. And he fixed a lot of that, right? So I was surprised he made those couple bad shots, but man, Andrew came out on fire, and he put it to EJ quick and early. And I do agree with Matt Anderson in the chat that it took a lot out of him. That's 7 roll-off strikes.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, and I know obviously there would have been a break and whatnot, but theoretically, like if EJ goes out and starts that game with no roll-off, he could have went front 8 or 9. So yeah, like I totally think that contributed to things. But I don't honestly. Andrew Anderson came for blood, bro. I don't want to take an iota of credit away from him by saying that if there wasn't a roll off and this and that. Let's be clear. Like he came for blood, and he was going to win that game. He knew what he was going up against, and he was prepared for it. So credit to him. First title in 7 years. I mean, that's kind of shocking. It's kind of shocking that first singles title in 7 years.
Well, he was hurt for a little bit.
He was, and he's got a couple doubles titles with Prather too. So
he was hurt for a lot of. He was hurt for. I think he was hurt for. I mean, I know a full year, but I think you could. It takes a long time to get back from an injury. So, all right, Mike, you want to do our awards? Get into it.
We can.
Cool. All right. Where do you want to start?
We did. I see you, Hoss.
I see you, Hoss.
We don't even have to cover that. Right?
No,
because it's got to be Ethan Fury, no doubt.
Yep. Dumpster diving.
Okay.
Let's go right for the jugular. I mean, in my opinion, there's really only one answer here. It's Kevin Williams. When Kevin Williams finished, I believe, 72nd out of 72nd. An average 202. which is
Yeah,
I don't know what
did he finish the event? I'm not even sure he finished the event.
I don't think he did. Did he get hurt?
I think he might have been sick.
Okay, I'll give him a pass. If that's the case, then I'll give Kevin a pass. Then my next is going to go to Marshall Kent.
Okay.
Because Marshall Kent did finish it, I believe, and it was like 204.
Yeah, when I look at dumpster diving for this event, I notice a lot of lefties down the bottom. So I'm gonna lay off the lefties, and I'm gonna go Sean Maldonado. I'm gonna go Sean Maldonado.
No Marshall?
Two-hander down at the bottom with a lot of the lefties.
Yeah, so a lot of people in the chat are saying Kevin didn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I recalled that.
So that's my bad. I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go to Marshall.
Where you want to go next?
Who are you riding? Who are you not riding with? There's only one right answer to this, and you'll never guess it. First off, you're not really riding anywhere because it's in Reno.
Right.
Who are you walking back in the middle of the downtown Reno with? Who do you not want to walk in downtown Reno from the stadium to Circus or El Dorado if those casinos are even still up?
I don't know where you're going with this one.
I'm not walking back with Bill O'Neill.
Really?
Dude, 48th? I haven't seen Bill finish that low in his standings in a while.
52nd, I think.
No, 48th. And he finished right behind Tommy, which is, I'm sure he's probably not happy about.
Wait, so we're talking about the Mike Aulby Classic here, yes?
Yeah.
What round are you looking at?
I'm looking at the full standings.
Oh, okay, full standings. I got you. All right. No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I would not be walking with a competing podcast. I'm not going to be walking with Stu Williams and Chris Barnes.
Ooh, Beef and
I'm not going to be
Barnesy.
walking with Beef and Barnesy because Barnesy finished 58th and Beef finished 61st.
It's a good pick. Good pick.
Not walking with them. Sorry, guys. Love the show. I watch whenever I can, but don't want to be there for those conversations.
Dude, Louis in the chat says Big Mike hates Maldonado's game. I
do. I do.
I don't like his game either.
I hate the hop.
The hop drives me crazy.
I see he's one of those guys that if he bowled in my league, I'd be like, I could beat that guy. I'd beat that guy in an action match. I'll bowl that dude for whatever. And he obviously mopped me, but yeah, I just don't see it.
Who are you riding with? Who are you walking back in the middle of downtown Reno back to your hotel with?
Probably Darren Tang.
Okay.
Probably Darren Tang because
two-hander making the cut.
Yeah, there hasn't been much positive, and I feel like this was by far the most positive. So probably going to walk back with him. He's going to be in a super good mood. We're going to be talking about how the two-handed thing is working out. We're on the right track now. So that's likely who I'd be
I'm gonna ride back with Thomas Larson. We don't talk about Thomas Larson on this show a lot. And he's kind of one of those like PBA pros that he's just kind of like, I don't know. He's out there. He doesn't make a lot of shows. Great player, right? And finishing, I think 13th is a good check for him. I think it was like 5,900 or something. So I'm sure he probably was happy with his performance, especially since he hasn't really done a whole lot from like my up viewpoint. So
okay.
Larson did have a great World Series. He's a good bowler, man. All these guys on tour are good players. Larson's had a good World Series though for sure. Okay. Where do you want to go?
The wrong era.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Wrong era of bowling.
He's one of those.
If he bowled in like the 80s and 90s, I feel like he would have had numerous titles because that's how all the guys back then who bowled well threw it. But yeah, I feel like he's in the wrong era. But all right, where we go?
Okay, who didn't take the heat?
This was so the match play for this was so long ago.
I know. You know who I'm picking?
Go ahead.
Jesper.
Mm.
Just he didn't take the heat on the show today. I'm giving him a lot of slack because one, we bet on him, and two, he had a great look early in that match. And when Keplinger put the heat on him, he just couldn't figure it out.
I'm gonna go Tom Smallwood because out of the top 4 qualifiers in this event, he was the only one to not make the show. So clearly something must have happened where he struggled to deal with the heat at some point. So I'm going to take him. And then who took the heat?
Andrew.
There's only one answer. Oh, you would say Andrew? I didn't really feel like there was a lot of heat in that match, except if you're talking about going up against Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger haven't won a title in 8 years.
Okay, all right.
A lot of pressure on you, a lot of pressure on himself to win 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Ethan Fiore obviously is
I was gonna say Tackett. Because he was the one who survived the long roll off.
Yeah.
I mean, like you had mentioned earlier when he threw the bad shot in the match against Andrew. How can you really make a big deal about that when you just watched him do what he did the previous game plus roll off, right? So I would give it to Tackett.
Yeah. And I think that's it, right? We don't have anybody else, right? There's no other rewards. We're done, right?
I believe so.
Matt Anderson wants to know when are you making your return to the tat? We'll see how this MRI plays out on my back in 2 to 3 weeks.
He's on the IR.
I'm on the IR for now. Haven't thrown a ball since December. Again, my arm was last year. Now it's my back. Getting old, bro. It sucks, but we'll see what they say. But I'll return to bowling eventually when I have that itch.
All right, let's go.
Let's see. I think the adrenaline from the roll-off got to EJ. That's a lot to come from. Yeah, well, we talked about that. Matt Anderson too said the same thing. Like, there's a lot of heat on you in that roll-off. A one-shot roll-off is a lot.
Do serial killers feel adrenaline?
I'm sure he does, but I'm sure he's now used to it.
I don't know, bro.
All right.
I don't know.
You want to get to worst of the week?
Let's go. We only got 20 minutes of the show. Let's go.
Do it.
All right, I'll get mine out of the way quickly because I know you're super excited for yours tonight. I know Rob's got something special for all of you tonight for worst of the week. So my worst of the week comes from the Bowling Science Forum. Never ending trove of worst of the week material there. So I'm going to describe the picture here.
Oh, I seen this. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a picture of 3 bowling balls. Okay, and each bowling ball. This is so good. Each bowling ball is spread out on a towel. There's a towel spread out.
It's like they're sunbathing.
It is. What? Stop taking my joke. You just took my joke. Damn it. I set this whole thing up just to make that joke, and now you took my joke. It's 3 bowling balls, and they all have a towel underneath of them, okay? And they're outside. The towels are on concrete with the ball on top of it. And here's the post, okay? 3 balls outside with a towel underneath them. The post is by Brett James Nordling. Congratulations, Brett. You've won worst of the week here. He says, got to get into the habit of this once a month is ideal for me bowling once a week. De-oil the balls. De-oil the balls using the sun's heat. De-oil the balls using the sun's heat before I go dulling the surface to make the balls grip better. It helps to remove the oil in its pores first. Often, then I find they don't need dulling up afterwards. So, Rob, what have we all been doing? We're all doing things wrong. We're all using Aberlon pads and spinners and dulling our balls, and that's not what we need to be doing. What we needed to be doing this whole time is just letting our balls get some rays in the sun. Okay?
I get
That's
some
really what
sun
we
in your
had to be
balls,
doing.
Mike.
We had to be sunbathing our balls. Okay? Like Brett here does. I'll also say, like Brett, wherever these balls are at, I'm assuming they're on your property somewhere, unless you just do this in a public space, which would be even stranger. But I'm assuming they're on your property. You need to pull some weeds, bro. I'm just saying. You need to pull some weeds around the property, bro.
It looked like he was in the back alley of like the
It
bowling
does.
center
That's
doing
what I'm
this.
saying. Maybe he does it in a public space. I don't know. It makes it even weirder. But
Maybe
I
he
would
went to
say-
a public pool and he put the balls
I
on a like.
right? And that's a good point, Rob. If you are going to do this, you do it up. Get a pillow for each ball, right? Put it on a lounge chair. Put a nice little drink next to the ball, maybe with a straw sticking into the thumb hole.
With an
You know
umbrella,
what I'm saying? With a little fancy umbrella.
put some suntan lotion on it.
Oh my God.
These people are out of control with their like
Suntanning
rejuvenating their
their
bowling
balls.
balls. It's like one of the weirdest things out there in the bowling world is like watching these people like trying to extract oil like from like doing all kinds of homemade type shit. Yo, pay the money, go to the pro shop, like let them use the equipment that is specifically made and designed to extract your balls for oil from your balls instead of sunbathing your balls. I mean, it's just an absolute tragedy at this point, but it's fun. It's good, great content for us. All right, Mike, you ready to get to mine? Because I'm ready for this.
What the hell is going on out here?
I know.
Go ahead.
My worst of the week, I ran into this TikTok for the at RC River Center, which is the Raising Cane's River Center for the Open Championships. Okay, now me and you are having an argument about this, and I'm gonna put it up here. My argument. Hold on, wait. I gotta make sure that it. My argument here is that this woman is actually saying what she's saying, and you're saying that this is a voice dub over.
Yes, I'm saying that this is the voice in this video is some sort of clip from a movie, a TV show, something like that.
I don't think
not
it
the
is.
actual person in the video.
I think it is the actual person in the video.
Well,
I've watched this
100% wrong about that.
Okay, I've watched this thing like 25 times, and whoever did the voice dub on it then is an amazing. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna play it. Okay, I might play it twice because I laugh every time I watch this. All right, you ready? Let's do it.
Ooh, this is nice, girl. This all this is you right here? Okay. They don't smell like roaches in here or nothing. This is so nice. And look at this. Girl, how you get sparkles in the back of an animal? What is this, a Care Bear?
Oh, let's play it again. People, it's from a movie. What, dude?
Yeah.
I swear to God, this like is so real to me.
I think honestly,
This is nice.
Girl.
Girl. This all this is you right here? Okay. They don't smell like roaches in here or nothing. This is so nice. And look at this. Girl, how you get sparkles in the back of an animal? What is this, a Care Bear?
I'm gonna flip this around. I think the worst of the week should be you. It should be for you, thinking that was the person in the video saying those words.
I did.
I really think
honest to
that was
God,
the worst. I think you just pulled the worst of the week on yourself, bro.
I might have, but it's the funniest thing ever. And whoever did it did an amazing job of it, and it made me laugh nonstop because it was hilarious. So
But
I did.
You're highlighting it for worst of the week. Why?
because it's funny. It just makes me laugh. Like, it was worst of the week because I couldn't believe this woman was actually saying the shit that she was saying. So yeah, maybe I do get worst of the week. Well, look. Let me tell you something.
Tim Foy agrees. Rob gave himself worst of the week.
Let me tell you something. It's not the first time I've won worst of the week. It's not going to be the last time I'm going to win worst of the week.
It's like dunking on yourself. You just dunked on yourself. Okay, that's what you just did.
I think it's hilarious, though. That's a great video, though. I've watched it like literally 25 times. I've got no shame. Look, if I win worst of the week, I'm proud of that. That's a badge of honor.
You know what makes it worse, guys, and people in the chat? You know what makes it worse? I tried to tell him this before we came on, and he poo-pooed me. And he was like, no.
I said, no, this is real.
He acted like I was the one who didn't know what I was talking about.
I said, no, this is real.
Trust me, it's not her saying those words, bro.
I was like, no, this is a real video.
It's her. What are you talking about? Makes it even worse. I tried to help him out. He didn't want to take it. He didn't want to take
it.
All right, let's go. 13 minutes till showtime. Let's go.
Girl, okay. Too good. I was laughing. I was like, man, this is crazy. All right, Mike, I'll give my final thought. I'm going to give my prediction of the show tonight. Right? I'm going with the Rocket Ishmael, Mike.
Okay.
The Rocket Ishmael is reminds me of Jason Couch, his style. I think it's going to be an interesting show because there's a lot of players that we haven't seen, 4 people bowling, 4 that are non-titleists, and you have EJ Tackett thrown in there, right? Like, it's kind of an interesting show. There's a lot of storylines, a lot of international players, Rasmus Edval and then Ryan Barnes, right, who could easily get comfortable and make a run. Tobias Boarding, EJ Tackett, and then Rafiq the Rocket Ishmael is leading. So,
all right, my final thought is bowling on all week. Let's go. Bowling on all week. And I'm going to give the people the first bet for tonight. If you're watching live and you can bet, first bet is going to be Ryan Barnes and the over. Ryan Barnes and the over. I really like, Rob, they got the over set at 435.5. That's low. That's very low. I like that. I also like Ryan Barnes minus 9.5 in this first game. So I will take that. I'm going to leave everybody with that. All right, listen, I'm going to go. I want to go watch the show. It's 10 minutes until the show. Everybody enjoy the show.
It might be Thursday.
We will be back on Thursday, Friday, Saturday at some point before Sunday. And that's it. All right, we appreciate everybody. Like, subscribe, email us, sweeptherack@gmail, Twitter, follow us.
Dry Fit Hoodies, Inside Bowling.
215, InsideBowling.com. Get your merch. We're out. Enjoy the show. 10 minutes.
Girl.
Terrible.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.